Hello, my name is Christine DiCarlo, and I'm the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine's, or AACOM's, Media and Public Affairs Manager. I'm joined today by Dr. Karen Nichols, who was the first woman elected president of the Arizona Osteopathic Medical Association, the American College of Osteopathic Internists, and the American Osteopathic Association. Dr. Nichols was also the first woman dean of the Chicago College of Osteopathic Medicine of Midwestern University. As AACOM celebrates Women in Medicine Month this September, we recognize that Dr. Nichols' example has inspired countless women in medicine and extends far beyond that, as her leadership has made a positive and lasting impact across the osteopathic and broader medical community. Dr. Nichols, thank you so much for joining me today to discuss your significant accomplishments as a leader in osteopathic medical education, your advice and words of wisdom to others, especially women who are interested in leadership, and your thoughts about the importance of supporting, recruiting, and retaining women in medicine. Dr. Nichols, my first question to you is about your master's degree in management and healthcare, which taught you important leadership skills. I believe, though, that you didn't enroll in this program until after you were appointed interim chief of the lab at Phoenix General Hospital when you were just 21 years old. So I have to ask, has leadership always come naturally to you? And in your experience mentoring others, is it possible for someone who does not see themselves as a natural leader or who is not traditionally seen as a natural leader to become effective in leadership?
Well, thank you, Christine. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about women in medicine in this very important time. I would say, yes, my sisters would confirm the fact that I've always been bossy. So being a leader was something that I have always done, even if I didn't seek it out. So I would say being a doctor implies that you are going to be in leadership positions. Now, doctor comes from the Latin word meaning to teach, and certainly that's a leadership role. And even more so, the physicians are going to be the most highly educated individuals in most settings. And in a healthcare environment, we're going to be looked to as leaders. So even if people become physicians and don't think they're a leader, they are.
That's a great point. Yeah, I like that answer. And that makes a lot of sense and should give anyone who's a physician listening that confidence that yes, you are a leader and you have leadership skills. So Dr. Nichols, you faced many challenges as a leader, such as accepting a job offer as a dean without having worked in that role before. As a leader, what has helped you navigate these challenges to achieve success?
Well, that is a really good question. And reflecting back on accepting the position to be dean when I knew so little about what a dean did, probably would not be a piece of career advice that I would give to anybody else. The reason it worked was because CCOM was such a well-established school and had such great faculty and chairs that they could keep it going until I finally figured out how to be a dean. The thing is, sometimes we do, as women, don't think that we're qualified for a particular situation and will say no when we're as qualified as anybody else that is looking at that position. My men colleagues, and studies have shown that men are going to be more likely to give it a try, even if they don't feel like they've had all of the background. But I would encourage women to consider, can they learn this situation? Can they pull together the resources for this situation? Because by the classic literature, that's not something that women usually do, and there's no reason that we shouldn't.
That's great advice for all the women listening too. I've heard that stat before, and I try to take that to heart. So you have had an experience in the past losing your way as you're walking through fog, not seeing a road that was there the whole time. And you treat this as a metaphor for being okay with not knowing where the next road will take you, but trusting that that road is always there. So what has helped you stay faithful in the future, keeping that metaphor in mind throughout the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think our faith is tested in a situation like COVID that is so uncertain. The thing that gives me hope and reinforces my faith is that our students, our residents, our faculty, our physicians in practice just step up and do what needs to be done. And we never take our eyes off of what we are trying to do, which is to improve healthcare and take care of patients. So yes, we may be in a fog, a literal fog of not knowing what's ahead, but we will eventually get there. And this kind of determination and dedication to what we all, to the reason that we all became doctors is what will get us there.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely true. So similarly, you value the importance of being prepared and passionate over having a rigid plan for the future. And that's just proven especially important right now when everything is changing every day. So do you find that that approach has any parallels with osteopathic medicine, and has it influenced how you connect with and care for patients as an osteopathic physician?
In my life, every single leadership experience and educational preparation that I had has come to play later in my life, even though I had no idea that it was going to apply. I have a master's in management with a specialty in healthcare administration. Then I went to medical school and I thought, well, how will I ever use management? What am I ever going to manage? Well, let's see, a medical school. And so I had no idea that that kind of preparation was going to be useful. It's part of what we do as physicians. We certainly are educated to take care of a wide variety of illnesses and accidents and organisms and on and on and on, which we may never see. But we're prepared for all of those because you can't plan what you're going to run into. Actually, the metaphor of the education and training that we have as a physician is the exact metaphor for leadership. You need to prepare. You need to know how to approach things because you don't know what you're going to need, and you don't know, you cannot plan all of those things, but you can prepare.
So Dr. Nichols, what has your experience been like, not only as a woman in medicine, but as a woman in leadership? And what advice would you share with other women in the osteopathic medical field?
That is a really good question, and it has a really simple answer. You can do this. Don't put limits on yourself. Virginia Satter is a psychotherapist, and she said we must not let other people's limited perceptions define us. We must not let our own limited perceptions define us. We are fully qualified to be leaders. We need the diversity of women and all of the panoply of different kinds of backgrounds to do a better job as a leader in medicine in every single way. So my bottom line is you can do this.
That's a great message. Love it. Okay, so Dr. Nichols, you just published a new book, and congratulations on that. That's very exciting, called Physician Leadership, the 11 Skills Every Doctor Needs to Be an Effective Leader. In its first chapter, you write about the importance of knowing who you are and how you act, quoting Warren Bennis, who said, Becoming a leader is synonymous with becoming yourself. It is that simple, it is that difficult. How did you come to know yourself, and how often, if ever, have you had to reassess who you are as your circumstances or experiences have changed?
That's a very insightful question, Christine. I did not realize that I had a leadership style all the time I was in practice. And I wrote this up in my book. It never occurred to me that there was a specific way that I looked at the world based on who I was and my background. And guess what? Other people had different ways of looking at the world based on their background. As a doctor, this is a difference between being a doctor and a leader. As a doctor, I knew that there were different ethnicities and different perspectives on health. This goes way beyond that, because I would be kind and listen and take that into consideration, but it never occurred to me that I had a style of how I approached communication and the way I looked at things. And when I became the dean, and I wrote this in a lot of detail, I met with the 15 different chairs of the departments at CCOM, and they could have been an example from style books of all the different ways. And I just couldn't figure it out. How come this person talks all the time and never lets me ask questions? How come that person answers the question I ask and doesn't volunteer 10 other things? How come when I ask this person a question, he never answers the question? He just brings up all these possibilities. And it was astounding to me that they had very different ways of approaching their leadership styles. And it was not going to be successful for me to do it just the way I'd done it as a doctor. It's not wrong to see the world as we see it. It's wrong to think that how we see the world is exactly the way that it is, because other people see it differently. So I've not changed my approach, but I've found out that number one, other people have different approaches. And number two, sometimes mine's not the best approach.
So my next question, the COVID-19 pandemic is causing an unprecedented number of women to leave the healthcare workforce. In your view, why is it important to support, recruit, and retain women in medicine?
I appreciate that question, and I would expand it. It's why it's important to recruit genders and ethnicities and experiences in life. Studies are very clear that women do better when they're taken care of by women. When you understand some of the background, and that doesn't mean that every woman understands every other woman and on and on and on, but if there's only one style, then all the other people that need to be approached in different ways are really kind of going to be left out. Not that we want to do that, but you can't, what is that? You can't be what you can't see. Mm-hmm. So yeah. We have to have the diversity. We just have to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, diversity is hugely important. And like you said, not only gender, but race, ethnicity, across the board. So I appreciate that answer. So my final question for you, Dr. Nichols, in addition to your many accomplishments and responsibilities, you have also been an extremely strong and passionate advocate for the osteopathic profession and have consistently helped raise the profile of AACOM's public policy priorities on Capitol Hill. Do you see any connection between the skills required for strong advocacy and strong leadership?
Oh, you're going to go back to my favorite comment. You can do this. That's part of the reason that physicians need to learn leadership skills, because who's a better advocate for their patients? Who really understands what those patients need? And it's hard sometimes for physicians to say, well, how am I ever going to step away and advocate? So maybe that particular physician in that setting has to put that off for a while, but some physician has got to step up and say, this is what is necessary. We need to be in the political arena. We need to be leading in health systems. We need to be leading in state and national government. We need to be leading in medical organizations. We need to be leading in hospitals. We desperately need the physician voice. I'm very passionate about that, as you can tell.
Yeah, and I would like to share with everyone listening, if you are interested in advocating, AACOM has an advocacy day coming up in October 6th through 7th, and we can add a link to that for more information. But it's free to register, open to physicians, medical students, residents, really everyone in the OME community. So I encourage you to check that out and get involved in that. It's a great opportunity to make your voice heard.
It's a lot of fun.
It is fun.
The people in Congress are just people. It's very
yeah,
fun.
And I know they do on some of these issues. I really appreciate the med student voice, which you may think maybe it's too intense for a medical student. It's not. So the physician voice is definitely always very valued. So definitely encourage everyone to participate in that. Well, Dr. Nichols, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to share. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today about such an important topic and help us celebrate Women in Medicine Month. And thank you for all the work you've done for the profession. And everyone, please check out Dr. Nichols' book. It sounds like a great read. Yeah, once again, truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. Have a good day.
You too.